Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the start of a new era in the Simsport Racing international community, the first official GT3 race under the SSRi banner. The merger between the two incredible sim racing communities is complete, and the place to race emphasises itself as the destination for virtual racers new and experienced. Last week, we had a thrilling start to this new era in the GT4 Championship at Kyalami, as well as the 2.4-hour series. But tonight, our attention turns to the first round of the pure GT3 Championship here from Imola. The Imola circuit is one steeped in motorsport history, and whilst tragic moments might exist in the circuit's story, it's close racing and attention-grabbing action that define its legacy. The former home of the San Marino Grand Prix is a unique circuit, owing to being nestled in the town of Imola, with some lucky civilians even living within the confines of the circuit. Characterised by the flat-out blast from the final Ravazza across the start-finish line to Tamburello and the technical segments that dominate its 4.909km circuit, the Imola track has become a favourite in the GT world and a challenge not to be met with a half heart. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Fulbrook, back to guide you through the action once again, and I'm delighted to be joined in the commentary box by a certain Mr. Chris Hill. Chris, it's always exciting kicking off a new championship, and it's always exciting at a circuit like Imola, but with a stacked grid tonight, we've got all the ingredients for a pretty sensational 60-minute race.
Good evening, Tim, and well done for that fantastic introduction. Do you rehearse them? Anyway, moving swiftly on. Yes, start of a new era, start of the GT3 Championship, one of 7 rounds, and I'm sure we'll display some of the list of rounds in due course. But yeah, it's looking well. So I'll let Tim talk you through this bit.
Let's have a look then. 7 rounds, as Chris said. Tonight's event, Imola, 60 minutes, no mandatory stops. The first of our 3 different race formats. Then we go to Oulton Park for 2 30-minute sprint races, no mandatory stop. That's our first double-header event. Then round 3, we go to Suzuka for a 75-minute race, our first trip out of Europe. Then we fly back to Europe for the 4th round at Hungary, the second of our 60-minute events on the 29th of March, an hour-long blast in Budapest. Round 5, it's the second of our double headers. It's the Misano on the 12th of April. Then we head back to the UK, 75 minutes at Silverstone on the 10th of May, as we set up what promises to be a very exciting round as we trade the North Hemisphere for the Southern Hemisphere. The championship finale, 75 minutes at Kyalami, 1 mandatory stop in that race. Different styles of race. It's certainly going to lead to different strategies, different approaches. But Chris, tonight, 60 minutes flag to flag, no mandatory stop. It's going to all be about track position, isn't it? No need to pit. Got to beat the car that's right in front of you or right behind you.
Yes, full 60-minute race. I can't wait for this start of this season. We have 47 drivers registered for this tier of championship. We also have a tier 2 championship, it must be said, that's running parallel to this, but fortunately we can't broadcast that at the moment. And within this tier 1 there are, it's fair to say, quite a few BMWs. Now, will they be using indicators tonight? I doubt it, because I don't think
I've lost Chris there, but anyway, I was going to say, as Chris alluded to, a stacked grid this evening. It's worth mentioning that the combined community now at Simsport Racing International has over 1,000 members. It's logged over 500 sim racing events, and it sees more racing action than you'll be able to handle. And it's a great time to get involved with the community. So if you do want to see yourself out there on track, getting involved with the racing action, then please visit our socials. You find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, or check out our website, simsport-racing.com, where you'll find our calendar events, link to our Discord server, and everything you'll need to know. Qualifying is underway, but before we head over to the live action, let's take a look at the 4.9km circuit here at Imola. It's certainly a track packed full of challenges. What starts off with Sector 1, the flat-out blast across the start-finish line, leads you into a tricky braking zone for the Tamburello chicane. What is turns 2, 3 and 4, you find yourself braking and turning on the way in. It's probably one of the best overtaking opportunities A complex sector 2, chicane at Villeneuve 5 and 6 before Tosa, the climb up the hill to the double left at Piratella before you plunge downhill to the start of sector 3 and the double right and then a left. 11, 12 and 13, all part of Acqua Minerale. Then up to the Variante Alta, a right-left chicane, plunge down the hill to Ravazza and then hit the loud pedal and gas across the start-finish line. Do it all over again. So let's head over to live pictures. Our qualifying session is underway, the first of this GT3 season, a 20-minute session. We are currently 9.5 minutes into that, and it looks like Robbie Stapleford is setting the pace, and he heads a BMW 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top positions, locked out then by this new BMW M4 GT3, something that sure, the ACC sim racing community have certainly made vocal their complaints about the strength of this car, and tonight we're seeing this new GT3 chassis really set the tone in this championship. And looking down the logos on the left hand side in the timing tower, we can see there are plenty of BMWs. In fact, the first non-BMW is Lewis Dykes in the number 19 McLaren. Here we are on board with Robbie Stapleford down to this first Tamburello chicane, left, right, and then you go left again, trying to convince the car back to the other side of the track. Easier said than done. He looked to have the car fairly settled through there though, catching traffic slightly, but I don't think that will be enough to put off Stapleford as he charges around, catching one of the Porsches ahead of him into the hairpin at Tosa. Try and use the camber of the circuit there to just drag you around, carry as high minimum speed as possible, climb up the hill through the trees almost as you then rise over the crest into the braking zone for Piratella. Use all the curb on the right, but be careful, very easy to pick up a track limits infringement. Then down the hill to one of the hardest braking zones on the track. You're braking and turning as the track drops away from you. Then you try and apply the power and climb up the hill as there's a spin off to the inside. That was the Porsche number 57 off to the right-hand side of the track. Then brake in a straight line for Variante Alta, skip across the curbs, and Robbie Stapleford runs very wide indeed. I'm sure that will be his lap time invalidated as he then runs down the hill into the final corners at Ravazza, but he's clearly backing off, trying to just leave some space ahead of him and get ready to go again for another lap. And despite this car being slowed down by Kunos in the most recent update for the ACC platform, at the moment it seems like certainly a dominant machine to be in. Top 7 positions now feature the M4. Here's Mark Brophy, the Red Lions Act Racing Mercedes number 462, heads into Acqua Minerale and up over the crest, looking fairly strong indeed. And he also looks up on his time as he heads up towards the Variante Alta, brake in a straight line and use as much curb as you dare on both sides. Apply the throttle cleanly, run over that curb on the exit, but be careful. It's such a tricky point there because you want to maximise the exit, but you don't want to run the risk of picking up that track limits infringement and invalidating your lap. Into the double left, the two parts of the Ravazza that round out the lap. Apply the loud pedal, keep it flat to the floor, try and straighten that line to the finish line. The driver's using that green asphalt, running all 4 wheels over it. Brophy jumps up to 12th position, but Stapleford leads away from Anto Marchi in the number 2. Then it's Charlie Crossland ahead of Dean Riley, positions 3 and 4. Clyde Bainley, Kieran Vidaga and Dave Jr. your top 7 before our first non-BMW in the hands of Lewis Dykes in number 19. Here's Rich Pixley in the number 7 Bentley. He heads across the start-finish line and into the Tamburello. It's great to see the Bentley out on track. A fan favourite. I confidently say that every racing fan enjoys seeing the Bentley Continental GT3. It's a shame that the factory programme provided by M Sport has been packed up and this car now runs solely in the hands of customer teams. That's in the real world, but in the virtual world here, Rich Pixley avoiding the traffic as cars push a little bit too hard. That was one of our Acura or Honda NSXs. Nard Cox, I believe, off in the gravel there on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. Up through the Piratella then. Traffic ahead, it's another Honda NSX. drivers carrying over form from the SSRi GT3 Championship. Well, certainly in the fight right at the top of the order with teammate Sem Spenkelink, who currently sits in 14th. As Pixley gets it wrong at the Variante Alta and bails out on his lap time. Rob Jackson then in the number 5 BMW. 25th at the moment is the Falcon liveried car, the blue and the green, as he heads out of the final turn at Ravazza and towards the timing line, crosses it, jumps up to P21. He improves to a 1:42.112. And Chris, the grid at the moment, we often say how closely packed it is, but a near 40 cars, in fact 45 cars separated by 3 seconds. It shows that even a matter of tenths can see you finish, or start, inside the top 10 or even outside the top 20.
It can. I'm not sure, can you hear me now?
Got you loud and clear.
That's unfortunate for you then, isn't it? I know you were trying to get rid of me earlier on, but I'm back. What was the question? What day of the week is it?
I believe it's Tuesday, but a matter of tenths, Chris, can define your position, can't it? I mean, look at the timing tower on the screen at the moment. Kieran Vidago is half a second. He's currently in 6th place, but he's half a second faster than P17. Every corner, every tenth counts.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the timing tower as well, and look at 11th, 12th and 13th. You've got 0.265, 0.275 and 0.285. Only takes a 0.01 and you're up a position. 0.02, you're up 2 positions. Stating the obvious, as I always do.
Well, it's obvious for a reason, but it's certainly worth emphasising nonetheless. Hello as well to everyone who's watching on in the YouTube chat. Hello to Jack Young, Damien de Kaiser, Baz Van Mellis as well. Thank you very much for dropping by. I hope you are enjoying the qualifying action so far. Here is Andreas Garlin. He makes the swap from the Aston Martin to the Mad Goetzer Racing 188 BMW, a bright pink car. Certainly won't be able to miss this one out in the pack as he comes across the line. Currently in P12. Does he improve? No, he stays there. His last lap time a second or so slower, so he might just been finding space out there. Now here is a livery. Aaron Van Droonen in the CBS out car. Oh, gets a slide on through Aqua Minerale. Traffic in front with the McLaren, and he tries to continue on his lap whilst the McLaren pulls off the racing line. Just forces a mistake really from Aaron. It's awfully distracting. You want to find that clear space out there on the circuit to be able to pump in your best time without having the distractions of other cars around you. Here is Nard Cox. He's got clear track in front of him as he climbs up the hill towards the Piratella into the left-hander that opens on exit, run over the curb on the right-hand side, then drop down the hill, try and line up your braking and turning points for the Aqua Minerale into the double right-hander, clip the curb on the right, use all the curb on the left as you try and settle the car and apply the throttle up over the crest. Short shoot down towards the Variante Alta. Brake and turn over the right and the left curbs. Use all of the track where available to maximise the time through that section there. And then you apply the throttle once again over the crest, down the hill. Tricky braking zone here. Gravity working against you on the run into the Ravazza as you brake and head downhill into the first of the 2 90-degree left. And then on exit, use as much track as you can and really try and the exit there is multiplied on the run up to the line, and Nard Cox certainly put the lap together there. Jumps up from P26 up to P16 inside the top 20 for the first time this session. Now here is Lewis Dykes. He has tumbled down the order slightly since we last spoke about the Mob 7 Esports McLaren driver. He's into the Aqua Minerale sequence now. He's now down in 11th place. Regan Mitchell, the best place of our non-BMWs, in P6. Dykes then into the Variante Alta. A bit of a slide on the way in there, almost helped with his turning, getting the car rotated into that first part, but he had to gather it up before convincing the car to turn left. Over the crest, under the bridge, down towards the Ravazza. Pick your braking point. So easy to just run deep. It's the last corners of the track that can often catch you out. ruin all the hard work of the previous 4 and a bit kilometres. Flat out. In. Jumps up to P8, so back. There's Pierce and Beton, the highest place of our silver runners. Oh, as Dykes clips over the curb at the Tamburello chicane and fires his McLaren off into the wall. That's qualifying done. So even if he wanted to improve, he certainly can't now. There's not enough time on the clock to get back out on track and set up a hot lap. Yannick Valenduk now in Team Rocket M-Power, the 301 McLaren, heads through the Piratella, down the hill, over the crest and into the Acqua Minerale. Such a difficult corner here, so easy to run wide and find yourself running off the track or loop the thing into the wall without any warning whatsoever. Over the crest, flat out down towards the Variante Alta. Into the right and the left. The car looks stable on approach and stable through the corner indeed. Actually on exit, anything a little bit too stable, but often clean lines can be the quickest. Runs down once again to the Ravazza. Straighten up the braking zone. Get the car stopped. Chuck the anchor out and hope the thing sticks as you run into the final corners of the circuit. Plenty of drivers in pit lane now, so they're accepting their fate as they collect the checkered flag. The timer has hit 0. Into the final kink right across the line. Valenduk, can he improve from 28th? He crosses the line, and I think he didn't improve on that lap. No, he was 2 tenths down. A couple of other cars still to collect the checkered flag, one of those being Stein Paspont in the 444 Lexus. Over the crest and into the Piratella. Hear the V8 rumble of this car as it heads downhill into the Acqua Minerale sequence. Oh, big slide on entry. Scandi flicking it into the double right. Manages to gather it up in the braking zone. Got away with that one for sure. His tyres might not be thanking him for that though, and he'll have to survive the rest of the lap. Through the right and the left. Over the curb on the exit. Oh, skips one of the sleeping policemen there, and that was just enough to invalidate his lap. Stein Paspont parks it on the exit as another car off there into the Ravazza gravel trap. Lulu B out of the final corner, run towards the start-finish line. Can we see an improvement from P40? Stays over to the right-hand side to shorten the run to the line, and unfortunately no improvement on that final attempt. But there you go, the results of this evening's qualifying session. It is Robbie Stapleford that picks up pole position in this first qualifying session of the GT3 season, a 1 minute 40.227. He's got a 3/10 advantage over Charlie Crossland. It's a BMW 12345. Chris, it seems that BMW is the car to have on paper, but looking in terms of the splits, I mean, it's only a few tenths here or there between the different types of car, and it only takes one mistake and one incident, and you see your name tumbling down the order.
Yeah, it doesn't look like just the car to have on paper. It certainly looks like the car to have on track. Seems 30% of people have opted to drive it. What I am pleased to see, Tim, is that we've got 4 Hondas. They're very rarely represented in championships. So to see 4 in this tier is excellent. But yeah, I've gone off my train of thought again. Are you sure you really want me to commentate with you?
Yeah, I do, but I can't speak on behalf of everyone else. Anyway,
that's great.
The Imola circuit, Chris, that we've spoken about its challenges, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because there isn't any room for error. You know, it is a modern circuit. It has been brought up to the modern standards to some extent, but they're really a fine margins. There's only a couple of corners really that have any runoff to be able to use in the event of emergency, aren't there?
Yeah, it's good to see gravel traps, isn't it? A lot of people prefer to see the big runoff areas to keep the racing going, but I like to see the gravel traps because it distracts you from going off, so to speak. Not necessarily trying to gain an advantage, but I do feel that if you make a big mistake, and I'm prone to them myself, that you should be punished in a way. And they're not easy to drive out of. There's some good tight corners here. and the chicane. I mean, we watched Stim before come down to the Variante Alta. Have I made that up?
No,
Acqua Minerale it wasn't it? Sorry, the Acqua Minerale.
Yeah.
Where he controlled that car very well. But you've got a run-off area on the left-hand side there that you can afford to take. But you do get a track limit for it, a track warning, so it's an invalidated lap.
Absolutely, and not only are the gravel traps in the grass waiting in the wings if you decide to get off the track surface, but the walls are perilously close as well, such as the nature of this circuit. You can even see just the left-hand side of the screen there were houses in amongst the circuit confines. It is a twisty and complicated 4.9 kilometres here at Imola. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. You are, if you're only just sitting down and turning on the stream, you've arrived at exactly the right time, because we are getting ready to go racing. The drivers are on the grid, and before we do begin the parade lap, I want to talk to the driver who's joined us for the race radio this evening. It is a certain Mr. Dave Hedges, who I believe is muted at the moment, and I'm not sure if I don't believe I can unmute him in this situation. So our first transition to Dave has unfortunately not worked. Oh, here he is. Dave.
Hi.
Qualifying. How did it go? You find yourself right in the thick of the action in P19.
I think it was okay. This isn't my favourite track. I struggle a bit with the chicane at the top of the hill. So I think top 20 is probably where I was at. I think my fastest lap was only about 0.2 quicker in practice. So I've extracted everything I can. It's going to be an interesting race. Just try and stay out of trouble, settle down, and try and pick up some places here and there with mistakes that come, no doubt.
60 minutes at Imola. It's a challenging circuit, but across the hour, how do you think your car will fare? The Lexus seems to be well represented on the grid, but it's a challenge for you nonetheless, hopping across into this new car.
I think it should be okay. It's quite loose on the rear end until you manage to sort of get the setup to dial that out, but I think it'll be okay. I was just hoping for some rain, but at the minute it doesn't look like there's going to be any.
Not at all, unfortunately. But thanks, Dave, for joining us. I will meet you in the Discord, and we'll chat to you at some point during the race. Cheers, Dave.
Cheers, Tim. Take care.
So here our grid is then formed up and ready to go. Let's run you through the order. Robbie Stapleford pulls away from the grid ahead of Charlie Crossland. Then it's Antomarchi and Clyde Bainey, P3 and 4, with Dean Riley, Regan Mitchell rolling away. Then it's Kieran Vidago and Adrian Misalovic ahead of Lewis Dykes, Dave Jr., Pearce and Spenkeling complete your top 12 ahead of Beton, Garlin, Brophy, Van Drunen, Nard Cox, Peter Vanier, Dave Hedges, Dimitri de Knoit. Then we've got David Vilcek, Pixley and Svering completing your top 24 positions. Then it's Scepter, Jackson, Volinovic, Valenduk, Vandy, Stein Paspon. Then it's Nelson De Bruyne, Sebastian de Tolonera, Zander Vale, Danny de Swart, Jitse Medema, Martin van der Kraan, Anthony Terhorst, Johan Planus, Chris Pinchbeck, Lulu B, Alex Crawford, Dan Lenson, Chris Vickers, Leonardo Wolf and Patrick Tractor. 45 cars on the grid for this first race of the season. They'll have a little over 100 metres of track between them if they are to spread out evenly around the 4.9 kilometre circuit, but there isn't much room here at Imola. The first corner is probably your best overtaking opportunity, but Chris, you want to get your season kicked off and started in the best possible way. You can't win a race at turn one, and you can certainly lose it. You don't want to be turning up to the final round at Kyalami thinking, if only I'd been a little bit more conservative in that first race.
First race, first corner. Chicane into the first corner as well, so everybody battling. I think we've reference to Formula One, I'm afraid. We saw it with Hamilton and Verstappen last season. It can happen, can't it? They bully each other, and the one that comes off strongest gets in front.
Absolutely. Certainly going to be some argy-bargy in the middle of the pack. Hopefully it will stay clean and the drivers will be able to continue on their merry way without any difficulties. We do like to see some paint traded here and there, but we don't like to see drivers having their races undone and ruined by drama. We are all here to have a good time and a fair time. That's what it's all about at the Simsport Racing International community. We want to race hard and race fair, and it'll be exciting to see the drivers kick off this new GT3 season with an hour of just that. Hello to Cameron Fife, to Multi21, Olivia Anderson and David Ressel. Thank you very much for joining. 60 minutes on the clock. We round the two Ravazzas. It's a top three rows dominated by BMWs, and then our first McLaren, Regan Mitchell in the number 3, will be hoping to get in amongst it and cause a headache for the M4s. The grid forms then as we round the final turn and go up towards the start-finish line, where they will be collecting the green flag, and we kick off a new championship, a new era in the Simsport Racing International community history. Excitement builds as the drivers roll towards the timing line to kick off 60 minutes of action, and we await the green flag any second now. We head into the second right-hand kink, where the drivers will then be released up towards the lighting gantry. Packed 45 cars waiting to take the green flag. And we're racing at Imola for the first round of the Simsport Racing International GT3 Championship. Stapleford on the inside continues to hold the lead, but he's going to be challenged by Crossland, and Antomarchi, who dives up the inside on his fellow BMW. Crossland skips across the gravel, is able to rejoin in P3, but momentum lost nonetheless as Clyde Bainey and Dean Riley battle it out and look for a way to pick up the scraps. There's a Bentley off in the background. I think that might be Rich Pixley just skimming through the gravel on the exit of the Tamburello into the Villeneuve chicane. All managing to make it through just about. They were side by side further back, but Adrian Antomarchi holding on to P2, fending off the advances of Charlie Crossland, and held his line rigorously into the Tamburello chicane. Dean Riley up to P4 as Dave Jr. looks to fight on the outskirts of the top 10, up the inside of the Lexus of Beton into the Piratella. He's slowing down on the exit, and that might allow Brophy a move up the inside into the Aqua Minerale. No, he backs out of it and opts to live to fight another day, but running slightly wide there is Dave Jr. on exit. There's a little bit of a love tap between them as they go up over the crest on the exit of the Aqua Minerale, down towards the Variante Alta, into the right and left. The grid is so almost nearly separated out into a single file line, but there's still opportunity to go side by side. Into the Ravazza for the first time. Sem Spenkeling looking to make a move on Regan Mitchell down the hill, but the Honda driver can't quite get it done. Mitchell runs slightly wide, compromised exit. Will this be Spenkeling's opportunity as they run across to complete? Be so frenetic. It is Stapleford that leaves the way, then it's Antomarchi, Crossland, Riley, Vidago, Dykes, Mitchell, Spenkeling, Clyde Bainey, then it's Sadovic, Pierce, Beton, Dave Jr. and Brophy here side by side on the run up towards the Tamburello. Brophy on the outside, gets it done, swoops around, claims the position. There was a car off to the gravel as well, so there might be another spot to be gained. It was the Lexus. And is Beton going slowly? He's falling into the clutches. Up into the Villeneuve chicane. Can't quite get it done though, as it looks like BMW of Junior has been able to just hold on to the position. There's 4 M4s waiting in the wings there to pounce should there be another mistake. As they climb up the hill and into the Piratella for the second time. Van Drunen in the CBSR car. He is stayed in 16th. That's where he started. I must feel like he's had a whole race's worth of action already. He's going to go side by side with Dave Jr. into the Aqua Minerale. Black and orange M4. There's a whole train of BMWs in this middle part of the grid as they head into the right-left at the Variante Alta. So the grid is just starting to separate into these little battle packs. But Robbie Stapleford did exactly what he needed to do. He got a great launch off the start and was able to just hold his position into turn 1 and hope and receive actually that Antomarchi and Crossland behind started battling and cost themselves 2 seconds worth of time already.
he was in the perfect position, wasn't he? Paul, obviously, but on the left-hand side of the track into the first corner, able to defend his position. Didn't really need to defend it that much because Brosnan and Antomarchi did have a little bit of tete-a-tete, shall we say? That's a nice word I'm not used to today.
Write that one down in the Chris Hill bingo if you're playing along at home, as Lewis Dykes looks for a way past the Honda NSX of Sem Spenkerling. He's managed to climb his way up to P6 from outside the top 10. Started 12th, now in 6th. Looking to continue that momentum up to the back of Kieran Vidago. It looks like the BMWs top 5 now, just starting to stretch their leg. So both run wide, slightly over the white line there at the Piratella. Down the hill to Acqua Minerale. Dykes trying to find a way past, hassling the bumper of Spenkerling through the right and through the left up over the crest. Almost giving a tap. Decent on the brakes into there, has just been able to put a car length between them, and actually Dykes, he made a slight mistake there, and that has cost him time and cost him momentum as well. There's the McLaren of Regan Mitchell beginning to close up now as they head down the hill towards the Ravazza. Spenkerling has just been able to find a car length or two and shuffle Dykes backwards slightly and maybe into less dangerous range as they come over the start-finish line. Here is Charlie Crossan though, the BMW G2 eSports driver, looking for a way past Antomarchi into turn 1. Well, turn 2 really is the Tamburello, but the first turn is unnoticeable. It's a flat-out blast. It's the braking zone, if you like. To set the pace, fastest lap last time around. Setting purple sectors as well. As we come up towards Tosa into the hairpin left. And look at Stapleford, the car looks quick. As do these BMWs, to be honest. They look very settled, very stable indeed. And around a technical circuit like Imola, that's exactly what you need. Feels like we've had an entire race already, but it's only been 6 minutes of action here at Imola. Crossland trying to eye up a way past Antomarchi. Chris, really, the best overtaking opportunity here is down towards Tamburello, but to get that done, you need to get that good exit from the Ravazza, and that's easier said than done.
Yes, because it's very easy to run wide at Ravazza, and then you lose all that momentum all the way down the start-finish straight and into the Tamburello, as you said. What is surprising me is how well Sem's doing at the moment. The commentator's curse, touching wood and all that nice stuff. But that getting that Honda into 6th place at the moment and battling with McLaren's and is there a BMW in front of him? I think there is. I
believe so. So here we go then. Here is Sem. BMW just a couple of car lengths ahead. That's Kieran Vidago. He's 1 second back. But Dykes has managed to make up for that time lost on the previous lap. He's now well within slipstream range as they come down to the Tamburello and into the braking zone. Spenkerling looks in control at the moment, but you get the feeling just from the body language of the cars that Dykes is the faster driver. And doesn't that Mob 7 Esports McLaren 720S look menacing, tucked under the rear wing of the Honda NSX into the Villeneuve chicane and then up towards Tosa. Seems to ebb and flow the gap. Seems like Spenkerling has the advantage in a few corners here, but it's not quite enough to disperse the challenge of Dykes as they go up into the Piratella. They are keeping tabs on Kieran Vidago. They haven't allowed the driver of the number 71 to scamper clear and up the field. We've got a yellow flag out for the 444 of Stein Passport, who looks to have stopped on the start-finish straight. Actually, he's headed back to pit lanes, making a pit stop. We hope he doesn't think that you do need to make a pit stop. No mandatory pit stop required across this 60-minute race. It's flag-to-flag action here. Lewis Dykes is locked to the rear wing of Spenkerling. Here is a battle pack indeed. Andreas Garland in a bright pink Mad Goetze Racing BMW, looking for a way past the Bentley of Dimitri de Knoit, who in turn is trying to make a pass on Dave Jr., who runs very wide on the exit of the Variante Alta. down the hill, nose to tail as they come over the crest and into the braking zone. Garlin looked for a way through, but the door was closed by Dimitri, who in turn was looking to try and find a way past Dave Jr., who's managed to gather it up. A slight mistake there behind. That's the orange Aston Martin of De Witt, with number 678. And the slipstream train is forming. Will shortly be arriving at the Tamburello chicane. Let's see, De Knoit to the outside. It looks like there might be a car on his inside. White flags are waving, so I wonder if there's a slow car. There is a yellow flag out, and it looked like there was a BMW stopped on the inside of the track there. Number 85, Clyde Bainey. He was the driver that started on the second row, was running inside the top 5, but here he is, tumbling down the order. He's going to try and rejoin the track, but he'll have to wait his turn for the traffic to come past. Aggravating moment for Clyde Bainey, the driver we've seen perform so well in the Sim Racing Hub International GT3 Championship. A mistake in this opening round inside the first 10 minutes, and he's dropped to the back of the order. Heart-wrenching stuff for Barney. I'm sure he'll be fighting his way through and doing his best to make amends. Lewis Dykes all over the back of Sam Spenklink as Vidago's run wide. Vidago over the curves at the Variante Alta. Rejoins the track, but he's lost 2 positions. Spenklink and Dykes hurry on through. Vidago down from P5 to P7. We don't have a BMW top 5 for the first time this evening. Sam Spenklink, the first non-M4 GT3. Honda NSX now inside the top 5 positions, but Vidago made a costly error there at the top of the hill into the chicane. Stapleford now opens a 4.6 second advantage. He is absolutely flying. Another fastest lap of the race, 1:41.1. That would have been enough to put him P5 on the grid. Such is his pace at the top of the standings. But this battle now, Lewis Dykes will meet in the sandwich. Sam Spenklink in front. Kieran Vidago, behind. Lewis is trying to find a way through before that BMW gets a chance to pounce. But Chris, as we were saying, it's so easy to make a mistake here at Imola with the margins are so narrow. And we saw that from 2 drivers in the space of a few seconds. First, contact, Lewis Dykes into the back of Sam Spenklink, spins the Honda round at the top of the Piratella. Spenklink gets the car facing the right way and back on the track, but he himself now finds him who is outside the top 10. To make a mistake on your own, but it looks like that Spenklink had a helping hand there. The Mob 7 Esports McLaren making contact with the rear of Sem through the Piratella, sending the driver of the number 74 looping round down the hill into the Ravazza. But Chris, with the grid so close together so early on in the race, as we saw from Clayton, we saw from Vidago, and then from Spenklink, you don't just lose one position if you make a mistake.
Clyde was very unfortunate, and trying to rejoin in a pack that is so close together is just virtually impossible, and you can quite easily, and I think we're going to watch what happened to Clyde here.
Ooh, he's actually looking for a way past. I think that might be Regan Mitchell. Both cars synchronised spinning. Mitchell's just able to get the car turned round in the gravel trap and continue on. I didn't notice that. Mitchell's dropped right down the order now. P15 is the number 3 McLaren. So 2 cars involved in that one, and Clyde Bainey had to wait his turn to get back on track. Certainly the aggressor in that situation, but you can say that potentially justice was done because he is well down the order now, whereas Regan Mitchell might be able to fight back from P15.
I think the stewards will be certainly at the end of the race looking at that incident with Dykes and Spenklink, because it could be deemed as a racing incident, but he spun Sem, and he's carried on. He's not done the sportsmanship which we do try and promote within SSRi of waiting for the person you've spun round. So,
Absolutely. Let's have a look then. Run up to Piratella. Dykes is so close to the rear of the NSX through the braking zone, and it's mid-corner. Taps the back, and the NSX spins round and off into the gravel. A bit of that accordion effect into the corner and on the exit, as different cars have different braking zones, or different drivers do. Different speeds through the apex, but you get the feeling there that playing with fire by running that close to the rear of the car in front. Dykes continues on though, P5, but he is chased by Vidago. So this trio now down to a duo. So behind there is Pierce, Isadovic and Brophy all together, with Beton doing his best to hold on to the battle for P7. He's currently running in P10, and then it's 3 seconds back to Sem Spenkling in the number 74 at Honda NSX. He's doing his best to recover from that instant we've just seen in the replay. And we do like hard racing here at the SSRi community, but it's all about hard and fair racing. We do have stewards who look into the events post-race. Every driver gets the opportunity to protest as well, so it was always up for discussion, just to ensure that we maintain high standards of racing in this. Running wide over the Piratella. Here's Danny de Swart, actually a bit further back in the CBSR Racing Porsche, unable to benefit from the drama ahead. The number 57 car, currently running in 26th place. It's a whole heap of machinery. Sebastian de Tolenera behind in another BMW, as de Swart is trying to find a way past the 301 of Yannick Valaduk. A very quick driver indeed is Yannick, so just shows you the level of competition here, that a driver that's won races in GT4 machinery and beyond in the SRHI community is currently in 25th place. As you look at our race leader, Robbie Stapleford, setting the pace. He's been uber consistent in the last few laps as the driver of the number 81. He's been setting an average lap time of 1 minute 41.3 over the last 9 laps, heading down the hill into the Acqua Minerale. A couple of adjustments on the wheel as we have completed the first quarter of racing action here. Over the crest towards Variante Alta, into the right and left. Chris, look, obviously Robbie's got the pace. Obviously he is the man to beat at the moment. In some ways, Robbie's got to make sure he doesn't beat himself, does he? You know, you've got to be careful and not make those mistakes and not have the errors that are going to cost yourself that lead. He needs to keep just doing his thing and not get distracted by lap times, sector times, the gaps to the cars behind. It's all about looking forward.
You'll know Robbie better than I do. This is the first race I've really watched with Robbie racing, but I have heard great things about him. I'm not comparing Robbie to Aaron Martin Pilkington, but that's sort of a reference that I've got, where we're having discussions last year in the GT4 of a similar fashion. Is he running away with it? Is he just going to pace himself, or is he going to carry on pushing? And if he's anything like Pilco, it's carry on pushing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, a driver that has raced with the Rocket Simsport team certainly is a talent in GT3 machinery and in this ACC simulator. He's proving that this evening. 6.5 seconds now over Antomarchi, just holding on to that gap, maintaining it and managing it. Just got a long way to go till the checkered flag. 42 minutes now on the clock as we cut to Adam Isadovic in the Simsport Racing X111 BMW M4. He set his personal best lap time on that previous tour of the Imola circuit, and he's looking for a way past the 174 of Pierce in front, and he's got a great exit from Acqua Minerale there as they thunder up to the chicane. He's really in the wheel tracks of Pierce All he needs to do now is try and get a great exit out of the Ravazza and tuck up into the slipstream off the 174 and hope that he can pick a pass into the Tamburello. Now, it looks like Pierce was quick on entry there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him lose momentum on the exit. He was very deep on the brakes into the first part of the Ravazza, and through the second part, Isalovic was just able to close up as Regan Mitchell's in the wars once again, in the gravel at the second part of the Ravazza. A slide on exit as well. He's under threat from Dave Jr. in the number 10. He's going to look to the outside as they cross the start-finish line. If the BMW driver can stay there, that will be the inside line through the long turn 1 and into the Tamburello at 2, 3 and 4. Mitchell on the outside, Junior on the inside. It's the BMW that comes out on top. He brakes late, completes a block pass almost, slides through, is able to cut the line into the second apex of the chicane. And now cost valuable momentum. Mitchell's under threat from De Knoit behind as they run into the Villeneuve chicane. The Bentley driver unable to make the pass. But that was an excellent move from Dave Jr., who's certainly been slipping back slightly in the order so far this evening. We've seen him being battled hard, but now he's able to make the pass, be the aggressor for a change. Chris, that was a really clean pass, wasn't it, on Mitchell there, just able to break that bit later and slide the car in front.
I think it was a perfect example of what we described earlier on, where you get the bad run out of Ravazza and you lose that momentum down into the Tamburello, and just actually proved our point, Tim. That's the first time that's ever happened for us.
Absolutely. Chris and Tim being right. I didn't have that one on my bingo card. But moving on. To see the M-Power colours on a McLaren that I believe definitely doesn't have a BMW engine in the back of that 720S, but nonetheless it looks good.
It's confusing, isn't it? A BMW McLaren without a BMW engine. It is a confusing colour scheme that I think Yannick's just done that to mess with our heads.
Doing it deliberately. I mean, McLaren have had a relationship with BMW in the past. Obviously, the iconic Le Mans winning McLaren F1 GTR powered by a BMW engine, but headache as he thunders down towards the Tamburello chicane. I think he's actually made the M. Yeah, he has. On the side of the livery, he's made the M from the BMW M branding, the M in the word McLaren. So he's gone to extra lengths to make sure the two brands are mashed together. I do enjoy an asymmetric livery though, and it certainly looks the part.
As you were just saying that, I was just spotting it. So yeah, that's why I'm giggling. A fantastic attention to detail on the livery.
Absolutely, we've got some very stunning designs. Well, there's Rob Jackson. I was going to say Falcon livery looks the part, but unfortunately it doesn't look good in the gravel trap. The number 5 Positive Perception Racing Machine able to get going once again, and it looks like as he flashes the lights on the run up to the Piratella that there may have been a coming together with Rich Pixley in the number 7 Bentley. He was off to the outside in the grass as well. So two cars losing positions through an incident they didn't need to have. There's a long way to go, 37 and a bit minutes. It might seem like only a short period of time, but there's a lot of racing action to be packed into this hour or so. Split up this second half is where things really will start to bubble over as drivers will get impatient and want to make those moves. As down towards the Tamburello, Dimitri De Knoit in the Mode 11 Racing 987 Bentley. He's lost the real slipstream benefit from Dave Jr.'s BMW, but in the brakes really closes up. Actually, it looks like Mitchell has got back past the number 10 BMW to reclaim 15th place. So pass and pass again. Mitchell defends the inside into Villeneuve chicane, but Junior's trying to go around the outside and set up a move on the inside. Contact between the pair of them, and the number 10 goes round, and he's parked in the middle of the road, avoiding action taken by Andreas Garlin, who I think made a slight clip with the rear of the number 10. But everyone else looks to have got through cleanly. But once again, a slight error sees a driver spin and sees them tumble down the order. Dave Jr. now outside the top 20. sure he'll get the feeling that this race is going from bad to worse, having started in P10. He's now falling outside the top 20 cars. This is Adam Misalovic running in P8. That's exactly where he started. A great position nonetheless, but I get the feeling that he'll want to make that pass on Pierce if he can. I think the task at hand, more importantly, is defending from Brophy behind. 3 drivers separated by 0.8 of a second. And they are 1.2 seconds behind Kieran Vidago. That is just slightly further up the road. It's coming up towards the halfway point of the race. It's BMWs. Now, Chris, look, it's a strong car. We know it. We can see it on the timing tower that the BMW logo is certainly dominating things. But I suppose it's a risk, isn't it? Because the ACC game, with a lot of people playing this, a lot of people aware of this strength of this M4, you could find yourself in a sticky position towards the end of the season when, Kudos might decide to nerf the thing, and then you find yourself in the 4th or 5th fastest car. I doubt that will happen, but a risk nonetheless. You're trying to pick up maximum points whilst you can, I suppose.
Well, it certainly is a risk, because we ran a pre-season test. Obviously, pre-season, because that's why it's called a pre-season test.
Okay.
Which is clever, that, isn't it? To determine what class these drivers would be in, and we weren't surprised to see so many BMWs in there, but we obviously can't prevent so many BMWs signing up, and we sort of had a double whammy. New car, everybody wants to drive it, and it was the optimum car to have. Since we started the pre-season test, the BMW has been nerfed already. But also likewise, we were surprised to see people not saying, can I swap cars, which wouldn't have been allowed anyway. But as the season goes on, it might get more nerfs, and we might get people not wanting to drive it anymore.
Absolutely, it'd be certainly interesting to track how the pace of this car changes. Certainly strong across the board, as Nelson de Bruyne having a bit of contact or a slight error in the 185 there as they shuffle through the Variante Alta. That's Chris Pinchbeck behind in the number 43 Aston Martin. Pinchy looking for a way up the order. P28 at the moment in the semi-pro class. 2 categories on track at the moment. White numbers on the left-hand side of your screen. The black numbers in the white box, those are our pro division cars. And then those with the grey background, white numbers on a grey background, that's our semi-pro category. 2 different classes fighting it out. So there's a race within a race. As we see Andreas Garland looking for a way past Peter Vanier in one of the Audis. There's a few Audis on the grid, which is good to see. Certainly sound good, the R8. Of course, they sound almost exactly the same as the Lamborghini Huracan. That's because they share the same engine.
Lamborghini sounds a bit more Italian though, doesn't it? It's
definitely. And in the real world, something that no simulator has been able to quite capture is that when the Lamborghini Huracans are driving towards you, you can hear this whistle. Something about the aero package that was changed about 3 years ago maybe. These cars just whistle on approach when they get up to a certain speed, and I haven't seen a simulator yet capture that sound. I'm sure if you go and Google Lamborghini Huracan flybys, you'll be able to hear it. Don't do that now, of course. We are nearing the halfway point of this 60-minute thriller to open the GT3 season. As it looks like Nathan Pearce has caught up and is looking for a way past Kieran Vidago. Now, what's happened to Vidago? He had a few seconds over the battle behind between Pearce, Isalovic and Brophy. Vidago's lap times don't look to show anything too shocking, but a slight wiggle there, maybe a trade of paint between the nose and bumper of Vidago and Pearce into Toza. Right on board with the number 174, trying to get the exit as they climb up towards the Piratella. Vidago is aware of the presence and almost covers off the line on the run up to the hill, over the hill before taking his racing line, but a slide through the apex. and runs wide. They're side by side down the hill. Pierce trying to go around the outside. Vidago trying to defend, but it's not enough. Pierce goes the long way around, and as they climb up over the crest and towards the Variante Alta, Pierce takes P6, and now we'll set about trying to close a 4-second gap to Lewis Dykes in the number 19 McLaren. But that was a great move from Pierce there around the outside of Kieran Vidago. Chris, look, these drivers, look, they're not going to pick the usual overtaking opportunities, are they? They're always going to be a bit creative and find space where you and I maybe wouldn't think so.
You and I, yeah, like I overtake anybody. Sorry, that was a beautiful move and no contact. And as you say, at the risk of repeating what you said, I can't repeat what you said because I forgot what you said. However, what I think you did say was that it was a nice clean move around the outside at a place where nobody else would think about overtaking. That was a lot of words, wasn't it? And none of them made sense.
You certainly got the word count up in your essay answer there, Chris. So
who had that on the bingo card, eh?
Brilliant stuff. Well, Adam Misalovic, defending from Brophy, certainly had sure, he's got a few words to say about this, and actually we'll have some more to say after running deep into the Villeneuve chicane. Slowed up on exit, and that's allowed the number 87 Lexus of Beton through. The highest place of our semi-pro drivers is John Beton in the number 87 Lexus. He's gained another spot there, up to P9 overall. Cameron Fife saying what a move from Nathan. Very clean and very well done indeed to get all the way around the outside, and probably what is the trickiest braking zone on the track, because you're braking and turning and the track kind of flattens out and then begins climbing. Here's Vidago trying to fight back actually on Pierce on the run up towards the Variante Alta. Unable to make the move that time, but as we head just under the half-hour mark, it's Robbie Stapleford that leads the way. He has got a gap that has continued increasing over Antomarchi in P2 in the number 2 BMW. 10.2 seconds separate our leading pair. Then it's Charlie Crossan in third, 3/10 back, nose to tail of the two M4s, fighting for the second and third positions on the road and on the podium. Then it's Dean Riley, 2.1 seconds back, just in the back of shot in the number 22. Followed by Lewis Dykes, who rounds out the top 5 in the first non-BMW. It's the number 19 Mob 7 eSports McLaren, but that position, I suppose, has a question mark next to it after contact with Sem Spenklink in the opening 20 minutes. Then it's Nathan Pierce, who holds on to P6, challenged hard by Kieran Vidago, but he got that position by making a fantastic move around the outside of the number 71 Aqua Minerale. Then it's Adam Misalovic in the 111 car in P8 ahead of John Beton in P9. The number 87 Lexus is the highest place of the semi-pro category, with Brophy behind in the 462, rounding out the top 10 positions. Then it's 4.5 seconds back to the Honda NSX of Sem Spenklink in the number 74. He leads his teammate Nard Cox by 3.1 seconds. He is closely followed by Aaron Van Drunen, as you can see. Second in the semi-pro category is the driver of the 124 CBSR Racing BMW. Then it's Vilcek in the number 212 BMW ahead of Regan Mitchell, who was hampered by the contact early on with Clyde Bainey at the Tamburello chicane, but he was able to carry on. He hasn't been able to make the inroads we may have expected from the driver of the number 3 McLaren. He's down in 15th place. Then it's Dimitri de Knoit, Peter Vanya, Andreas Garlin, Bart Sverik and DeWitt to round out your top 20 runners and riders here at Imola. We're halfway through the action. We've enjoyed 32 and a bit minutes. No better time to hit the like button on this stream. There are 36 people watching. There are 17 likes, so I get the feeling that there are a few of you yet to press the button. So take a mid-race pit stop for yourselves and make sure you hit that big thumbs up on the YouTube stream. Really makes the difference. Chris?
Sorry, Tim, is that a mandatory mid-race pit stop?
Absolutely, for those watching.
Viewers.
Absolutely. Some opting for a different strategy. Some have gone early with their like, and some might be going slightly later or splitting the race in two. But no better time.
Yeah, absolutely. Good strategy to have.
Absolutely.
We'll see how it comes out on top.
Well, there's one more, so it's coming already. I can see the number climbing up and over 20 likes. So thank you very much, everyone. We do really appreciate the support. And if you are enjoying the race after you've liked, feel free to subscribe as well. Keep up to date with all the racing action here in this new era for the Simsport Racing international community. 26 minutes and 17 seconds to go. Charlie Crossland eager to make the move on Antomarchi in the number 2 BMW. Redline Zach racing car has held on to that spot since the start. He was able to get the jump on Crossland, make the move into the Tamburello chicane, and he's since stayed there for the entire race. Get the feeling Crossland is going to have the rear of this M4 memorised by the time we get to the checkered flag, but he'll be wanting to get past and stop staring at the back of the yellow number 2 car, or yellow and black grey front coloured machine, two-tone. They are catching traffic. Now this is something, Chris, that we needed to factor in, because with so many cars on track, 4.9 kilometres, and with 60 minutes of racing action, there will be a point where the drivers will have to start making their way past the back markers, and that's an opportunity to gain and lose time in equal measure.
Yeah, I think we've still got 41 cars running, if I'm correct, maybe 40. But yeah, will they capitalise on the back markers? Some see it as an opportunity to overtake. Some like to not get involved and you rely on the back markers to not immediately jump out of your way, but to try and let you pass as cleanly and safely as possible, because the last thing you want to be done is taken out by one of those gentlemen or gentle ladies in the back marking position.
Absolutely, and certainly, I suppose the leader has the hardest time of it, don't they? They almost wake up the back markers to the fact that they've got a blue flag. So Robbie Stapleford's got the hard task of making his presence known to those further down the order. There are a few cars in pit lane, so less machinery to try and get through across the remaining 24 minutes, but he has already passed a number of cars. The next on his list is the number 336, I believe. That could be the 330. I'm trying to look at the track map, which I think is Sebastian de Tolonera. We'll have a look. Here is Rich Pixley in the Bentley Wild Things Racing number 7. We saw this car in the wars in the first half of the race, and now Rich is pushing on to try and make amends. He's looking for a way past Sander Vale in the 808 Audi car with the I believe the Envision Racing livery from Formula E on that car. He has the same in the GT4 Championship. If it's not the direct livery, it's certainly inspired by. So they come out the final Ravazza. You ride on board with Rich Pixley, running across the start-finish line, tucked into the slipstream of the Audi. The Bentley, I'm sure, is punching a bigger hole in the air than the Audi R8 can, but he's doing his best to make the most of the slipstream, running up to the first chicane. He's so close to the back of the number 808 through the left and right, and I get the feeling he might have caught himself off guard there, having to check up mid-corner. So much closing speed onto the back of Sander Vale. Very close indeed, nearly taking that paint wrap off the back of the number 808 Audi. I'm sure Zander's put a lot of time into that livery, so we wouldn't want to see it damaged in any sort of way. Here's Adrian Antomarchi defending heavily from Crossland, who's managed to get the overlap and looks to the inside into the Tamburello. Crossland gets the job done, forces his way through. There was no contact, but Antomarchi, the position he's held since the start of the race, since the first corner, he's now relinquished to Charlie Crossland, who started in P2. Crossland will be smiling inside the number 62 at BMW, happy to get back up to the position he started the race from. He's now got a 13.6 second deficit to overturn to our race leader Robbie Stapleford. As quick as Charlie Crossland might be, I don't think he'll be able to do that unless Stapleford makes a mistake. Now it's these two are coming down the hill and into the from the Piratella into the Acqua Minerale. As they turn right, the 81 car is turning left out of the Variante. Is Robbie Stapleford. So he's well amongst the traffic. Oh, there's a spin behind. Antomarchi loops it round on the right-handed part of the Variante Alta. And this lap, it just goes from bad to worse. He's dropped down from P2. And I think Dean Riley's got through as well now. So Antomarchi down to P4. We'll get an update as they cross the start-finish line. It's a lapped Porsche behind. But a mistake there from Antomarchi. Chris, so easy to do. Once you lose a position, lose your rhythm, and those mistakes can creep in.
I'm supposed to be watching this broadcast, aren't I, to assist you with the commentary? And you're right, Dean did get passed off. Did he?
Continues turning, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Continues off in the different direction. Don't want to be the one to tell Adrian that the track goes left there, but I'm sure he knows that as he returns back to...
Like what we saw.
Sorry, Chris, we'll come back to you shortly. Stapleford, though, leading the way. 23 laps in the books as we head into the final third of the race. As he gets up behind the McLaren, lap traffic, pulls over to the right-hand side and slows down. That's the Castrol liveried car, which then gets very close to the back of Stapleford in the braking zone. That would have been a scary moment for the driver of the number 81 to see the McLaren closing up in the mirror. As this battle continues on, Salovic and Brophy have been locked together for the entire 40.5 minutes so far. As they head down the hill into the Acqua Minerale. There's Chris Hill complaining in the YouTube chat about Discord. Chris, we'll get you back shortly, I'm sure.
I think I'm still here. I think, fortunately, Tim, you keep breaking up every so often, and the viewers and myself can't hear what you're saying. And I think likewise that's happening to me as well. So Discord is messing us around tonight.
Not fun.
No.
Well, something that is fun is the racing on screen. So if you do lose us, make sure to keep your eyes firmly locked on what's going on the screen, and just imagine that Chris and I are surely saying something very interesting and very worth your time over the racing action. As down into the Ravazza, Regan Mitchell is going to pick up a pass and pick up a position on Wildcheck, who just dropped 2 wheels over the curb on the right hand side and over into the grass and nearly looped his BMW M4 GT3 as they rounded the first part of the Ravazza. Easy mistake to make. Wonder if he was watching his mirrors to try and pass. Didn't happen on that occasion, unfortunately. It looks like Wildcheck opened the door and let him through.
Here's a question for you, Tim. And I might have missed this, but what's happened to Kieran? Because he was battling with Nathan and now he's down in 10th.
That's a really good point. I hadn't seen Kieran slip down from the top of the pile. He was being closed on by Pierce. I can't quite remember seeing, I don't think we saw Vidago spin, so that's a shame. Vidago down to P10.
I'm sure our beautiful race director, Mr. Tom, will maybe find a replay that's showing what's happened to Kieran.
Well, now you said that out loud, he's got no choice but to sit there and rewind and find it. Last lap for Kieran Vidago was a 1:42.7, so it can't have been the last time around that the mistake happened.
Lap 22, he was 2.6 seconds slower.
There you go. So it's been a couple of laps since Vidago made the error. Here it is. Just like that, Kieran Vidago then up towards the Piratella, 2 wheels over the grass on entry, and he runs out through the beach on the exit. Salovic and Brophy steam on by. Vidago down the order, just in front of Beton there. He then loses out to the driver of the number 87 Lexus and falls back another position as well. Tom Vandermeer in charge of the cameras this evening, bringing you all the racing action and replays. Excellent work indeed so far. 16 and a half minutes to go. Aaron van Drunen in the CBSR Racing BMW, the number 124. Tell you what I like to see, the CBSR cars all have a slightly different take on the blue and purple colours that clearly define the team's branding. The BMW 124 has got this gradient effect, the kind of slashed livery, and then the Audi of this is racking my brains. This is really testing my knowledge of the entry list. Coinceptor's 32 Audi, I believe, has got a different livery altogether. There it is, bang on cue. Look at that. I like the different take on the colours.
Sorry, there was also a Porsche in their team as well. Danny de Swart
as well. So 3 different chassis, looking all very different takes on the team's colours.
And one final one for you. Sorry, I've actually got some knowledge for a change. Anthony Terhorst.
Another Beamer.
And another BMW. So I suspect that would be the same as Aaron's.
Yeah, likely to be the same design. It's nice to see that they really used the colours of their CBSR team to enhance the particular shapes and styles of the GT3 machine they've chosen. I feel like those more complex designs look really good on the Audi, but something like the Porsche that we've just seen there with Danny de Swart really deserves that nice big block colours. Now, there is a block in front of Mark Brophy, and that is Kieran Vidago, driver who's been up and down the order. Brophy will want to get through, I believe, actually there's been a battle on this previous lap, and Brophy has dropped down to P10 behind Vidago. We did see him make a mistake at the Villeneuve chicane not too long ago, and it looks like he has potentially made another error. And we're into the final 15 minutes of the race, the last quarter of the action here at Imola. Brophy close behind into the Piratella, and Vidago running wide on exit, picking up another track cut warning, I'm sure of it, as they go through the Acqua Minerale, the double right and then left up over the crest. The run down towards the Variante Alta under the shadow of the trees there, through the right and the left. Actually, on that short run between Acqua Minerale and the Variante Alta, there are some people's houses that back onto the track. It's an excellent shot from the most recent Grand Prix here that shows 2 kids on their trampoline, peering over, jumping up and down, watching the whole field fly on by. Very jealous of that, to say the least. If I had that view from when I was a kid, I'm sure. The grid continue thundering round then here at Imola, as Mark Brophy dives to the inside, makes the cutback, does the dummy, but unfortunately runs on through the sand, and he's going to lose out to Vidago. He made such a good effort to get through on the inside, selling the dummy brilliantly to Kieran, but unable to make the pass or make it stick. It looked like the job was done, but too late on the brakes, and through the gravel he runs. Chris, he so nearly got that done, didn't he? And it was an excellent dive back to the inside.
Yes, beautiful move. What happened? I was busy typing. Here we go.
Here we go. Look, Brophy, he had cut back. He was on the outside. Then he turned hard left to get onto the inside of Vidago. Hit the brakes late. Couldn't quite get the pass done. Vidago skates on through, makes reclaims the position up over the crest. And here is our race leader, Robbie Stapleford, in the thick of the traffic now. Last lap of 1 minute 43. Clearly his pace has slowed as he's had to deal with the back markers, but the number 81 car has been somewhat of a league of its own. 14.6 seconds back to Charlie Crossland on that last lap. Actually, Stapleford losing the best part of 1.2 seconds to the driver in second place. I wonder if that was to do with traffic. Looking at the timing screens, a lot of that time came in the middle sector. So I wonder if there was some sort of battle or some car to pass. sorry, in the first sector he lost over a second as well, so that time has just been added up across the lap. Stapleford now through Acqua Minerale, he's well in amongst the traffic, and of course all these cars are having their own battles and having their own fights for position. The next car in front, I believe, is Dave Hedges. So Dave, if you're listening, car closing in behind. I know you're busy, he's trying to make a pass in fact, down the hill into Ravazza.
Yeah, I don't think we'll disturb Dave at this moment in time. I was just checking up myself to see where he was.
Oh yeah, he's got the job done. He's passed now Sander Vale in the 8. Actually, sorry, that's Van der Linden in the number 65 BMW. But behind him is then the race leader. So these two will be receiving the blue flag. Van der Linden moves aside as they run up towards the Tamburello chicane. Stapleford will have to file in line behind Hedges. So Stapleford dealing with another set of traffic then. And he's now got a nice up the hill and about to enter the Piratella, so he's got space on track now to really put the hammer down and try and open up that gap again to Crossan, which again came down on the last lap. So he won't want to allow that gap to slip anymore. Crossan 14.6 seconds back. Stapleford has been absolutely flying this race as we head into the final 10 minutes of racing action here at Imola. 21 degrees and sunny, and it's certainly been blue skies for Robbie Stapleford so far as he heads up towards the Variante Alta into the right and left. Now this track can bite. We'd hope that Stapleford hasn't used up his 9 lives just yet. Don't want to be picking up a drive-through, don't want to be running wide on just one too many occasions here. Lose all and with the cars flying on by at the fastest point of the track, you lose a lot of time passing through pit lane. So Stapleford will need to keep it inside the white lines across the next 9 minutes and avoid any sort of unforced error as he heads into the Tamburello chicane to start another lap. Last time by 42.3, he's back down into the 40 at the low 42s. Crossan behind a 42.2 as well, so exchanging blows are the leaders, but Stapleford's the one with a near 15-second advantage over the number 62 into the left-hander at Tozer and up the hill. Here is Crossan. Look, he's a number of corners back and a number of cars behind as well. He's got the 2 McLarens in front. One of those is Yannick Valenduk in the 301 in the Team M car, livery we were talking about earlier. And there's another McLaren 720S with the Castrol design. There's 2 iconic liveries gracing the grid here, albeit on cars that I don't think they've appeared on in the real world. They head through Acqua Minerale. Charlie Crossan closing up to the back of the number 31 car. So actually that's not Yannick Valenduk. I think that might be the McLaren of Dan Lenson as they go through there it is, the Team Rocket M-Power car, the number 31. So we've got 2 of those liveries, Chris. One of them wasn't causing enough of a headache. We've got 2 of them to do that for us.
I suspect they're both teammates. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there, Chris.
I'm clever, aren't I?
We'll find out after the race. We'll do some digging as Crossan's through now, and that gap has just opened a little bit on that past lap as Crossan had to deal with the traffic. It's up to 15.4 seconds. Here is Sem Spenklink in the number 74 Dark Sky Racing Honda. It's been a battle for Sem this race, especially after the contact with Lewis Dyke's number 19 McLaren. He slipped outside the top 10, really hasn't been able to make inroads back into the top 10 positions. despite the battling ahead between Pierce, Isalovic, Beton, Vidago and Brophy. It is really starting to close up now. Heading on to this next lap, 6.5 minutes to go. Spengling's last lap actually lost a bit of time on that previous tour around the 4.909 kilometres of the Imola circuit. As they come up towards the Villeneuve chicane. Vidago's last lap of 42.8. Brophy 42.9. They are blow for blow. They are matched on track. It's being demonstrated just how close they are, running nose to tail through Tosa as they come up towards Piratella. And this fight, I believe, has just knocked them back from Beton, allowed the Lexus to escape up the road. Hasn't been the cleanest of runs for either Vidago or Brophy. Further down the order, it's not just battles inside the top 10. We've got nearly 40 cars running. In fact, I think we do have bang on 40 cars still out there on track. As Cohen Scepter now in the CBSR Racing Audi having a fight with that's Pinchbeck in front in the number 43 Aston Martin, flying into the Piratella. Behind is Clyde Bainey, the number 85 BMW. After that incident early on with Regan Mitchell, Clyde has had a mountain to climb and he's about halfway there. Unfortunately, the time has passed by and he's not going to get too much further up. But another position is about to go his way up the inside of Cohen Scepter after the Audi made a mistake at the Acqua Minerale. Through Variante Alta, the position confirmed. Bainey up to P26. Bart Zverik battling away here with Dave Jr. Jr., another driver that's just slipped down the order as a result of one mistake too many. He now heads a BMW quartet outside of the top 20 positions. Junior, Zverik, De Bruyne and De Tolanera all on screen there, but I get the feeling Zverik's going to make a pass soon. Looks to the outside in the run up towards the Tamburello. Junior on the inside, Zverik on the outside. Junior's just able to defend his line, defend the position, but it looks like the number 12 Sim Racing Holland M4 has got the run on the exit, and they're side by side again as they run up to the Villeneuve chicane. Zverik's going to try and get the job done and make the slide pass. Oh, just about gets through. Dave Jr., a wheel on the grass, really had to gather the thing up into the second part of the chicane, but does so. Unfortunately, though, he's lost another position, and Bart Zverik is through. And now he's about to have to defend from De Bruyne behind in the number 185 BMW. Certainly a popular car on the grid. You can see why. Plenty of racing taking place in these machines. It's great to see the variety, though. 9 different types of 9 different types of BMW. That'd be nice. 9 different types of GT3 car on the grid this evening. So there is some variety out there. Quite in the top 4 though, all BMWs. Top 4 positions. That's our first non-M4 in the McLaren of Lewis Dykes. How long will he hold on to that position post-race? I'm sure the stewards will be looking at that instant fairly quickly. As Aaron Van Drunen gets the run on Nard Cox on the exit of the Tamburellos. They run up to the Villeneuve chicane. He looks to the inside, but Cox sweeps around the outside. Unfortunately, though, he's run deep over the curb on exit. They're going to be side by side into the Tosa. Door handle to door handle. Van Drunen's got to go the long way round, and Cox is able to just defend the inside line and hold on to the position once again. As they go up towards the Piratella, Cox holds on to P12 in front of Van Drunen. Behind is Regan Mitchell now, who is closing up, and he'll be wanting these two to come to blows, to force each other off the road so the McLaren driver can slip on through and gain a couple of positions right at the death. Into the final 2 minutes, Robbie Stapleford out on track. He's just running up towards the Villeneuve chicane, so I think we'll get one more lap after this one. As Van Drunen has got the exit on the Honda in front, running out of the Variante Alta, and he's managed to squeeze up the inside and he'll be on that inside line on the high ground into the Ravazza. Breaking down the hill, he'll try and close off the line, but he's run a bit too deep, and that's allowed Cox to slide up the inside. And all of this, look how much time it's cost, because here is Regan Mitchell, who's going to move along the outside of Van Drunen. Now let's see how quick these cars are in a straight line. Van Drunen will be aided slightly by the slipstream of Nard Cox, who, as he drifts over to the left-hand side, will offer that draft to the McLaren. Running up towards the Tamburello, they're still side by side, evenly matched on the two of them. On the flat out section, on the brakes, just the same. Mitchell's holding it out around the outside. They're still side by side. This has been a good 3 corners now. Running up to the Villeneuve chicane, get the feeling Mitchell's going to slide on through and hold the racing line and make the pass. And that was very close from Van Drunen trying to get the car stopped. Nearly ran into the back of the number 3 720S. Mitchell gains another position though, up to P13.
That was beautiful racing, that.
Clean stuff, Chris. That's what we like to see.
Absolutely.
Hard but fair. As here, the battle is erupting. Adam Isalovic now under pressure from Beton in the number 87 Lexus. Side by side into the chicane. Isalovic runs deep. Beton gets the exit. They're side by side. Another little love tap between the two of them as they run down towards the Ravazza, and the Lexus is through. It's the highest praised of our semi-pro drivers. It's up into the top 7 overall. Down into the Ravazza, but the Lexus runs deep. And Isalovic gets on through, gets the position back, holds on to P7 as we come up to start the final lap of the race. Robbie Stapleford up the hill into the Piratella. He's received that white flag that indicates the start of the final lap. So he now is into the Acqua Minerale. He's been unchallenged this race. He's been so totally dominant. Pole position, and then he managed to just stretch his legs at the start of the race, make the best use of that clean air, and establish a near 10-second lead in the first half. It's then crept up to 15 seconds as he exits the Variante Alta. One more run through the final double left at the Ravazza, and he'll be picking up another race victory in ACC, but the first race win of this new Simsport Racing International GT3 season. Into the final left-hander, applies the throttle one final time, running up towards the line. Robbie Stapleford is going to take the checkered flag and claim victory in the first race of the SSRi GT3 season. Robbie Stapleford wins. An utterly dominant performance from the driver of the number 81 BMW M4 GT3, and on the final lap he came within a couple of hundredths of a second of beating his fastest time in the race, just to show how fast he's been this evening. Charlie Crossan crossed the line 18.9 seconds back, ahead of Dean Riley, who's 7/10 behind the number 62, so it was a close podium finish. Antomacci, after running for the majority of the race in P2, drops back to P4 as Lewis Dykes rounds out the top 5 positions in that number 19 McLaren, but I get the feeling that position, that result has an asterisk next to it. Then it's Nathan Pearce in the 174 who takes the checkered flag in 6th, ahead of Adam Isalovic, who will be 3 seconds further down the road. Then it's Besson in P8 ahead of Kieran Fidargo, and Mark Brophy rounds out the top 10. That quartet giving us fantastic racing throughout that 60-minute affair. Sem Spenklink crosses the line in P11. It could have been a top 5 finish for the driver of the number 74, but it wasn't to be. Nard Cox in P12 and Regan Mitchell here in the number 3 crosses the line to take P13. Another car that dropped down the order. Another car that we could have seen fighting inside the top 5. Then it's Aaron Van Drunen and Will Check who round out your top 15, followed by Dimitri de Knoit, Peter Vanier, Andreas Garlin and De Witt. Then it's Danny de Swart on screen who completes your top 20. And it's Swearing, Junior, De Bruggen, De Tolenera, Clyde Bainey completing your top 25 positions. And Chris, at last, an opportunity to catch our breath. Robbie Stapleford, though, utterly dominant.
Well, to be fair, it's you that needs to catch your breath, isn't it? I've not really done much talking tonight. But yeah, absolutely dominant display. Finishing 18 seconds ahead of Charlie, was it? In the end. And as you say, on his final lap, within a tenth of his fastest lap. But yeah, overall, good clean racing. We've seen some fantastic overtaking manoeuvres. we've seen some disastrous overtaking manoeuvres as well. So it's been a good mix throughout the full race.
Of course, one of the joys of this championship is the different race formats, isn't it? We had 60 minutes tonight, and it really showed to be a sprint from flag to flag. But next time out at Oulton Park, it's 2 30-minute races. So I suppose, Chris, we can expect the temperature to just get turned up a little bit more.
Yeah, because they are going to be 2 true sprint races. But obviously, you want to score as many points as you can in each of those races. So, will you be battling as hard in the first as you are in the second, or vice versa? Where was I going with that train of thought, Tim?
You're about to say points make prizes or something like that, I believe.
No, because I think that's ripping a famous character off that I don't really want to do.
Well,
it's a bit unfair.
Of course, copyright. We don't want that to
No.
Especially after so many people have gone to the effort of liking the video mid-race. Well, let's speak to a driver who we didn't really get to speak to mid-race because he was very busy indeed. It looked like Dave Hedges was in the wars throughout the 60 minutes. Dave, we'll come to you first before we speak to our drivers who finished inside the top 10. But a difficult one for you in the Lexus at Imola. It looked like you were busy for the entire 60 minutes.
Yeah, I had quite good race pace. I was keeping up with Robbie at the end there for a couple of laps, but I made a silly mistake into Aqua Minerale and spun and nearly hit the wall, so went to the back of the pack on the first lap, and so it was just trying to battle through cars that weren't quite on the pace, so it was just slowing me down. So good race though, some good battles, and hats off to Van der Linden there. He's so difficult to pass.
Absolutely, it's something we've always championed in the community, is the racing quality up and down the order. So we will jump now to speak to the drivers that finished in the podium positions. We go first to our race winner, Robbie Stapleford. Robbie, pole to checkered flag. You look like you had that one sewn up from the start, but you must be pleased with a race run like that, if not slightly bored.
Very pleased. Pretty much got a good start, and then luckily Charlie got holed up behind, and then I started to build the gap, and yeah, that's just how it went really. It was quite boring. So.
I suppose to some extent, yes, you find yourself in no man's land when you're out the front and able to continue on your way, but I was going to say, you must have really enjoyed it. The BMW M4 looks the most popular car on the grid, and it looked like it was an absolute pleasure to drive around the Imola circuit.
Yeah, the BMW is a great car. It's an easy one to drive, but it's definitely exhausting. But it's just so easy, especially around here. It just takes the curbs, and it's really easy to get lap time out of it. So yeah, it's been good.
Different event entirely. What will your approach be to those two events now you've started off the season with a maximum score?
Just same as this one really. Practice and hopefully get a good qualifying position and work my way and pull away.
Excellent stuff. Cheers, Robbie. We'll go to the driver who finished second place. It was a bit of a battle for Charlie Crossan. Charlie, you were stuck behind Antomarchi for much of that race until you got the move done. You must be pleased to have got back through and picked up your P2.
I mean, it was all right. Shouldn't have been back there in the first place, but it happens.
Now, obviously, you finished second behind Robbie. Reckon you'll get him next time out. What's it going to take to turn the tide on your teammate?
Don't give him the setup.
Very good indeed. Well, Charlie, next time out, Oulton Park, a track you like?
Oh, a track I love. But suppose Imola was a track I love, but I didn't really enjoy that one. But yeah, Oulton's another one of my all-time favourites. Whereas, Robbie, it's not Robbie's favourite. So
that might play to your advantage. Thank you very much, Charlie. We'll go over to our final podium finisher then, Dean Riley. Dean, a battle for you as well. You seem to be waiting in the wings to pick up positions should the chance come your way, and you ended up on the podium. How was your race?
It was good, yeah. I mean, the car was not 100%. I mean, I kept sliding in the rear too much, killing tyres, and I really couldn't push without the risk of, losing too much time. So, yeah, I was pretty much stuck in limbo. I couldn't push forward, so I was just going to take as many points as I could, and hopefully one of the two in front would obviously come off, and that's exactly what happened. I did have a bit more pace, but the risk for reward I don't think was worth it. So, yeah, I'm happy with third overall. The two guys in front are absolutely rapid, so yeah, I'm happy with that.
Brilliant stuff. And the same question to you. Next time out, Oulton Park, a circuit you enjoy?
I mean, I live 5 minutes away from it. I love the circuit, but I just don't have any luck there. I seem to have the pace there, I just never finished the race there. So, yeah, hopefully we can go one better and finish the race and have a good result.
Home circuit indeed. Thank you very much, Dean, and thank you to our top three, Robbie Stapleford, Charlie Cross and Dean Riley. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
So, Chris, hearing from the drivers then, post-race, not much to say. Feel like Robbie had that one wrapped up and there was nothing anyone could really do to stop him.
He didn't sound out of breath, did he? Mind you, he's a youngish lad, I believe. So they don't get out of breath these days, do they? Not like us older folk. But yeah, start to finish victory. With Charlie coming within 18 seconds of him. Just if they'd have both got off to a good flying start, would they have been battling each other? We won't know, but we can't wait to see what happens at Oulton now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Chris, for joining me in the virtual commentary box. Thank you to Tom Vandermeer for the cameras, as always, and thank you to everyone who's been watching along. And before you head off and before the stream finishes, make sure you take a look at that thumbs up, the like button, and hit it if you haven't already. It's great to see the number creep up over the course of the race. And beyond that, if you haven't subscribed to the Simsport Racing International YouTube channel, then why not hit the button and hit the bell next to it as well, so you get notified when we're going to go live. Well, it was an interesting race here at Imola, but Robbie Stapleford sure has set himself out as the man to beat. A dominant performance across the 60 minutes here. But it could all change in the next race at Oulton Park. 2 30-minute sprint races where the margins are going to be ever tighter. Until then, I look forward to seeing you at the next race on the 15th of February from Oulton Park. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and it's goodbye.